My sermon today is when two or more are gathered, when two people come together in perfect harmony. But really, when two ideas or when we become single-minded in purpose. So we're going to look at it a bunch of different ways. Individually, with a small group like us, and then collectively. And I got some really cool videos. So the scripture I picked was from Matthew 18:20. For where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. There's something special when two or three come together in perfect harmony. So what happens when we're united? When we're united in purpose, when a group or two people are fully united to attain a specific goal. And what happens when we're divided? And division is something that we can see everywhere right now. I mean, we just live in a divided world. And we have to not be divided if we want to be part of the solution instead of the problem. So no man can serve two masters. It says in the Bible, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will hold the one and despise the other. You can't serve God and mammon. So what's that mean? You know? And the first thing that comes in my mind is the addict I cannot be sober and drunk at the same time, period. Pick one. If you want to be a drunk, be a drunk. If you want to be sober, be a sober. But don't be split in mind. And we do this about everything. Should I or shouldn't I? And life is a big question mark so often. So Sherry called me, and she asked about that. What does that mean, serving two masters? And it's this, in our own minds, individually, we're split in half. So we need to have a burning desire. We need to be single-minded in purpose. The Course in Miracles talks about all of our problems stem from separation, the duality of mind, this confusion that we put ourselves in. So the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, if thine eye be single, the body is full of light. But if the eye be evil, the body is full of darkness. Therefore, if the light be in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? So I was talking about this yesterday. I feel I have a very high realization of health. Is it perfect? Is it completely single-minded? No, because I've been sick in the past. I see sickness in people around me. So it's not perfect, but it's 90-10. I think health a lot more than I think other things. Other people in life may think about sickness 90% of the time and health only 10% of the time. So it's like a continuum. But how great is the darkness? Well, in the person who thinks about illness 90% of the time, it's dark. And the person who thinks about it only 10% of the time, maybe it's not quite so dark. So there's spectrums, of the darkness. And what it tells us is to seek first that light, seek first that kingdom. So individually, we have to become single-minded. And this is a quote from Dr. Bassell, who I talked about a lot last week. The person who practices the maintenance of harmony in his own life finds it much easier to establish harmony in his contact with others. For when the me of me is in perfect harmony with the I of me, half the battle is won, because I'm no longer emanating an antistic attitude towards others. So when the I of me, the higher self, is in perfect harmony with John Denny, me, the lower self over here, when these two entities can be in alignment, life gets incredible. Magic happens. So individually, I have to be working on my harmony so I can be in harmony with each of you. But there's nothing you can do about it. I have to do it. It's my problem. So we need to take full care of our own house, our division in ourselves. And Charles Fillmore said, here is a mental treatment, I've said this before, guaranteed to cure every ill that the flesh is heir to. Sit for a half hour every night and forgive anyone and everyone you have any ill will or antipathy towards. Sit for a half hour in forgiveness every night. It will cure every ill the flesh is heir to. Those are the things that we're divided in mind. If I have to forgive somebody, I have division right there. So why? Because again, Course in Miracles, all of our problems come from a feeling of separation. So why are we hearing unity, united, unanimous, all these words? And I'm going to show you something really cool about unanimous in a minute here. So that's individually. I have to be single-minded in purpose in my own life. If I come to you in duality of mind, this or that, you're going to feel a very uncomfortable feeling. This person's in confusion. You can't not. Now, the mastermind. This is one of my favorite concepts ever. It's when two or more people come together in the spirit of perfect harmony to attain a specific goal. This is Napoleon Hill's definition of it. Now, masterminding, for some reason, gets confused a lot with brainstorming, with networking, with think tanking, where you get a bunch of people together and we all try to solve a problem. That is not a mastermind. That is a brainstorming session, a think tank, whatever it may be. For me, the mastermind takes on a spiritual element where two people come together in a spirit of harmony at a higher level. So when I looked at it, when I learned this concept of the mastermind, no two minds ever come together without creating a third invisible, intangible force. Have any of you ever walked in a room when two people just had a real bad fight? And you walk in and you're like, "Ooh, I gotta walk out of here." And you don't even know why. You just feel it. That's what we're talking about. That's the mastermind in action in a negative way. And you walk into another room where two people are having a wonderful time, and you just want to sit down because it's that vibration that pulls you into that place. So the mastermind creates two people coming together, create a third power. This is really an incredible concept. And when I learned about it, I was like, wow, Barry and I have been doing the harmony exercise for 20 years together, thinking the same thoughts at the same time for 10 minutes. And then I watch how our journeys to Colorado, Hawaii, Florida, all of them line up in a way where we really masterminded it. Every time we bought a house, we'd do the harmony. Let's put this address into right action. Every time we put a car, let's put this car into right action. And we'd set it, basically turning it over and letting it happen, not trying to make it happen. So I was like, wow, we've been actually doing it for years. So to understand the mastermind as a spiritual connection. Now they say the mastermind should be composed of 2 to 6 people, because when you get over 6, doubting Thomas is going to be there sooner or later. It's really hard to get 6 people. It's really hard to get 2 people on the same page, 3, 4, and then it only gets harder and harder. But if you can find, so when you read about masterminds, they say, more than 6 can be tricky. But when 2 or more are gathered, something else happens. There am I in the midst. I had a problem with this for a while. I'm like, well, what does that mean? That when I'm by myself, God's not with me? So if 2 or more are gathered, then I'm in the midst? And no, when 2 or more are gathered, we create this third power, which is a collective conscience. Now we're part of the whole. When I'm praying by myself, John Denny is the recipient I'm the one who's going to take the thought. I'm the one who's going to receive the benefit or the ill health from the thought I'm thinking. So whatever thought I think, between me and God, I'm going to suffer the consequences. Once I do it with someone else, now we're all sort of suffering the consequences or getting the benefits. So collectively, what happens when a bunch of people, 10, 20, 30, a collective conscience, a group conscience comes together and wants the same thing? So I've been coaching golf for a long time, and I watch videos, and I've been watching these videos for a few years, and something occurred to me. I'm watching one, and I'm like, well, how did that happen? It's impossible that happened. And then it occurred to me how it happened. Everyone in the videos I'm about to show you want this thing to happen. There's no anti-force. There's no one voting against these people I'm about to show you. 3 of these golf shots are one-timers, okay? So the first one I'm going to show you is Ricky Fowler. And Ricky Fowler, the Ernie Els has a place over here called the Center for Excellence, and it's an autism school. And they did a golf tournament, and they bought an insurance policy, and every pro could hit one shot to this island green. If they get a hole in one, they win $1 million for Els for Autism. Okay, this is impossible. This just doesn't happen. So, can you play that video, Michael? And I'm going to ask you to just quickly pause it after the first one stops. So this one, that wasn't even his golf club. He'd already put his golf clubs away in his car. He had no golf club on. He had sneakers on. He borrowed the golf club from Justin Thomas. It wasn't even his golf club. And he wins $1 million. He'd never probably hit that golf club before. Won $1 million for Ernie Els. How does that happen? Is that luck? No. Something must be caused. We live in a cause and effect universe. That can't be luck. Everyone there. Did anyone not want it to win Ernie Els $1 million? Anyone there? Not one person. Everybody likes Ricky Fowler. So even if you had a problem with some of the other guys hitting the golf shot, you probably wouldn't have a problem with Ricky. Okay, so this is Jack Nicklaus's grandson. He's the caddy at the Masters Par 3. He gets to hit one golf shot all day. He didn't get to hit 100 golf shots. He gets one chance. The caddy gets to hit the golf shot on this 18 holes. So now he's playing with he's caddying for his grandfather, Jack Nicklaus. He's got Tom Watson and Gary Player watching him, the best golfers in history. But again, his sister, everyone's there. Who didn't want the kid to hit a good shot? Anybody? Everybody's voting for him. So there's another, it's impossible for it to happen. Though you could put him out there with 1,000 golf balls, it might not happen again. To me, you just can't argue about that stuff. And there's some, in that particular video, you see perfect individual harmony. Where did that girl want to be? I talked about it with Diane and I, sitting in that labyrinth when she called the hummingbird around. That's where we wanted to be. There's nowhere that girl wanted to be except on that golf hole. And then self-belief. I got this. They offered to take it out of the bunker and let her hit it off the grass. Hey, you want to get that out of the bunker? She said, no, I got this, Full belief. Didn't even line up. It was like the Jack Nicklaus putt and that putt. Neither of them really read the putt. They just it goes a little left, Jack didn't, who knows what Jack did. He just, he hit that thing from 100 feet away. But there's something that causes that. And for magic to happen is when a group can come together like that. So now, here's a quote from Abraham Lincoln. A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free, because that was the problem back then. I do not expect the union to be dissolved, but I do not expect the house to fall. But I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become one thing or the other. So sooner or later, a group of people are going to take one side. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. So we want to make sure it takes the correct side. So unity, unanimous, one single-minded, collective conscience. These are all things I've been thinking about a lot this week. There's something about Reverend Diane. She was a tremendously unifying force. There was really very little dysfunction in the church between people, dysfunction toward her, right? There was just sort of a unity. If you didn't like her, you didn't come, but no one had a problem with it. It was very flowing. Then Reverend Bodie came, and it was the exact opposite. It split the church right down the middle. Some people liked him, some people didn't. And there was this division, and we all felt it, and the church suffered tremendously for it. And now we're going in to look for a new member. Now, whether it's me or someone else, it's only temporary, number one. Number two, I understand I'm a divisive character. Not everybody, I'm not the warm and fuzzy that everybody's looking for all the time. But we got to find whatever happens here in this next journey to this next minister, we all have to be in collective conscience. We can't be picking somebody who divides this place apart again, because I don't know if John said it last week or someone else said, most of these unity churches are closing their doors right now. You know, there's not, most of them are about, this is about most people, this would be a big congregation. This is the smallest congregation I've ever talked to. But there has to be unity in that, and they're falling apart. So as we go in this, make sure we pick a uniting force, however we go about it. So what can we do? First, we connect with ourselves. Seek first that kingdom of God. Renew your mind. Transform your life. Let us be connected with ourselves. Then have your little mastermind group, your nuclear group of people who can connect at that same spiritual level we connect with ourselves, because then we can have an effect on the collective conscience, the bigger picture of the world. And the third thing to do is to work on the collective conscience. How do I make this world a better place? I believe each of us being here today has some little way. It's like when a butterfly flaps his wings, they feel it in China, you know? So there's some way we're all making the world better. I don't know exactly how, but I do trust it to 100%. So we make that sincere attempt. So now, taking all those thoughts in mind, how we can make a difference, all the different things that we can do to make a difference. Just take a deep breath and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, that we have access to these higher thoughts, these higher ways of thinking. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you got something out of that talk, and we'll get to another beautiful song. But first, Susan Toya. Thank you so much, everyone.